What he's doing is awfully dangerous. Where is he going with that thing?
He's trying to get to the top of that radio tower. Do you have any idea how tall it is?
500 feet.
Then we better start thinking about a plan B.
Made it! Now I just gotta get up to the top! It's no use! Even at this height it will destroy the city, so hand it over!
He's right, X-Brawn. If that thing goes off at 500 feet, the city will be demolished. In order to save the city, you're gonna have to take that thing a whole lot higher, like into the stratosphere, or maybe even farther.
Of course. That's the answer.
Alright, so here we see Koji's contribution to the cause, as he is the guy that comes up with the idea that the bomb needs to be even higher up than the tallest structure. I'm not convinced the Autobots wouldn't have figured that out for themselves, but we had to make him relevant somehow, because heaven forbid we shouldn't have a human character in our Transformers cartoon somewhere. This is really why most fans dislike human characters in Transformers. They're often shoehorned in with not really any purpose or anything to contribute. Say what you will about Michael Bay films, at least a good amount of his human characters are military and actually contribute to the plot of the films because they can actually capable of fighting. Granted, it could be done better, but it's a step up from most of the Japanese Takara import human characters.
Well now, you've come to the end of your rope. Excellent. Give me the bomb. Looks like the cavalry got here just in time. Optimus Prime, transform! Hello, Sky-Byte. There's nothing you can do, Optimus. I beg to differ. Optimus Prime, optimize!
Now here we see Optimus Prime pull out the big guns. Yes, the back half of his trailer combines with the robot mode to make a sort of super robot mode, if you will. Although combine is not the right term for it. And this was a major problem that Transformer fans had with this particular incarnation of Optimus Prime. The fire engine mode, in of itself, was fine. Again, keep in mind, this isn't the Optimus Prime, but a parallel universe's version of him. So the fact that he has a slightly different alt mode is understandable, and most people don't really care about it one way or the other. However, the way this particular version of Prime transforms is that basically the fire engine splits in half. The front half is the part that actually transforms into the robot, not unlike the cab with the original Optimus Prime. Keep in mind that Optimus Prime, the original, was actually 3 components. He was the cab, the trailer, and a small drone known as Roller. And both the cab and the trailer transformed, although unfortunately Roller did not. And it would have been neat if he transformed into, a handgun of some kind, or maybe a turret that could attach to the trailer. Something to make him more integrate into the larger units. The trailer itself would transform into a kind of a gun deck command center sort of area. Unfortunately, nowadays Optimus doesn't really come with trailers, which is a real shame. It would be nice if they would actually make an Optimus Prime that actually had a trailer that would just, nothing fancy about it, just simply opened up into sort of a command deck with an armory wall to store his weapons and maybe a gun or something to defend itself with, and have a little command center for your figures. It's certainly what we all wanted for a figure for the original Optimus Prime, and to date, Hasbro has never really delivered this. Beyond the original version of Optimus Prime, there's never been a proper, quintessential version of Optimus Prime, interestingly enough. We simply get sort of almost incomplete variants of him usually. Often nowadays, he doesn't come with a trailer at all, which is a shame. But with this version of Optimus Prime, the back half of him doesn't transform. It's not a trailer, so it's not a complete thing in its own right. And granted, while the front half transforming is reminiscent of just the cab transforming, it is also not a vehicle in its own right. So basically, you just have 2 vehicle components now, one of which transforms into a robot and one of which does not. And you basically can take it apart in the back half instead. Kind of think of it like Lego bricks almost. it simply splits up into, I think, about 9 pieces total. Some of these individual components do transform, if you will, but again, from one component form to a second component form. And they can be reattached together to make a sort of pseudo base mode. It's basically a radar station with weapons. And it, of course, doesn't move. Which does mean that if Optimus Prime walks across the battlefield and suddenly finds himself needing to transform again, he can't because he left the back half of him on the other side of the battlefield. To top it off, it's not too unusual these days to find an Optimus Prime who can combine with his trailer. Again, not a feature that I necessarily think Optimus Prime needs. This is much more of an Ultra Magnus thing, but it's fine to have, the occasional version of him that does. Power Master Optimus Prime combined with his trailer, for example. So it's not unknown. But when you combine, to be a proper combiner, or to properly combine with something, two components basically transform to their combination forms and then connect together to form the larger robot. This is not how Fire Convoy Optimus Prime works. And you can even see it in the transformation sequence that he goes through. The back half falls apart into its individual component, which, like I said, I think there are about 7. And he essentially wears it. He's basically wearing gear rather than combining. He's got the 2 shoes that go onto his feet. He's got the 2 gauntlets that go over his hands. He's got the 2 shoulder plates that go over his shoulders. And then he's got the sort of chest plate, head, back combo, which I guess makes 7 components. So perhaps not quite as bad as 9, but still 6 too many. Now, the resulting look, I'll grant it, is actually pretty cool. I actually quite like Optimus's combined form here. And the toy is quite large, super class. If you're curious, we've not really talked about the different Transformer sizes. Toys would come in a basic, which ran for about $5 or slightly more dollars. A Dual-X, which was close to twice as big as a basic, not quite, and tended to run between $10 to $12 or so dollars. A Mega, coincidentally what Sky-Byte is, which would run for about $15 plus. And then typically the largest Transformer you would get would be an Ultra, which ran to about $20, $25 something dollars. Again, back at the time. Prices, of course, fluctuate and change throughout the years, especially due to inflation. And who's in the White House, frankly, will also contribute to cost. Introduced at the end of Beast Wars, though, was the Super Class. And then Beast Machines, in fact, introduced a size even larger called Supreme Class, which was the largest until the Titan Class, that came out only a couple of years ago, really, as part of Transformers Generations. When combined, Optimus Prime here is a very tall, super class-sized robot. The show developers, at least in the American version, never did quite seem to come up with a proper command code for Optimus to assume this form. My favorite was the one actually used here, Optimize, which works really well with Optimus Prime, really thematic. But I suppose it'd be a bit difficult if you ever had another Transformer who had a similar ability, but whose name wasn't Optimus. Optimus will also refer to this as Battle Mode, Super Mode, and 1 or 2 other names. And they never really seem to quite stick to one of them, as is the case with all their command codes. But I said, I think it's a shame. I believe he only uses Optimize this one time, which was really the best out of all of his command codes for this form.
X-Brawn, listen up. Switch into robot mode and then throw that device as far and as high as you can.
Well, sure. 100 mile and then some. X-Brawn, transform!
Foolish Autobots! I'll catch up to it in no time. Activate Power Stream targeting mechanism. Locked on. Power Stream, fire!
Look! Optimus is using his power stream to send the bomb into space. And it's so cold outside the Earth's atmosphere that the water covering Sky-Byte will freeze him like an ice cream cone.
I'll get you for this, Optimus! to be very careful. The slightest vibration will set it off. I'll have to use my gentlest bite.
Uh-oh.
I believe may have bitten down just a teensy weensy too hard.